Relations between Central Asian countries and China have reached the level of lasting strategic partnership, declared President of Kazakhstan Kassym-Jomart Tokayev as he opened the second Central Asia-China summit in Astana. In response, Xi Jinping announced a grant of 1.5 billion yuan, roughly $209 million, to support prosperity across the region. President Xi also called on neighboring states to work together in countering modern threats and strengthening regional security cooperation. More on the key statements and outcomes from the week's most important political event in our next report. The first Central Asia-China summit was held in May 2023 in Xi'an, where participating nations began shaping the framework for cooperation within the C5+1 format, laying the groundwork for future engagements. Since then, economic and trade ties between China and Central Asia have reached new heights. The long-anticipated China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan railway project has entered the construction preparation phase, marking a major step toward enhancing regional connectivity and linking the Asia-Pacific with Europe. In Uzbekistan's Sirdarya region, a 1,500-megawatt gas-fired power plant has officially come online. Meanwhile, Kazakhstan is advancing a wide array of joint projects with China in energy, infrastructure and technology. President Tokayev highlighted these achievements in his opening address, officially launching the second summit.
The combined GDP of Central Asia countries is steadily approaching $500 billion. Over the past 5 years, inter-regional trade has grown significantly, surpassing $10 billion. Last year, China accounted for around 40% of the region's total foreign trade, reaching a record $95 billion, with Kazakhstan contributing 46% of that volume.
Что составило рекордные $95 миллиардов. 46% данного показателя приходится на Казахстан.
Chinese investments, with cumulative volume exceeding $26 billion, have played a significant role in Kazakhstan's economic growth, according to President Tokayev. Around 5,000 enterprises with Chinese capital are currently operating successfully in the country. The president emphasized that the potential for cooperation remains vast and named energy cooperation as a key pillar of regional stability.
Central Asia holds 20% of the world's uranium reserves, over 17% of its oil, 7% of natural gas, as well as substantial deposits of rare earth elements. In other words, the potential for cooperation in this sector is immense. Given China's extensive and successful experience in nuclear energy, we are keen to develop a sustainable partnership in this strategic field. We will begin preparations to sign a formal agreement in the very near future.
Будем готовиться к подписанию соглашения в самое ближайшее время.
Amid growing geopolitical tensions and confrontation between major global blocs, traditional supply chains, so vital for both Central Asia and China, are being disrupted. In this context, ensuring reliable trade routes becomes essential. That's why President Tokayev has proposed the joint creation of a new cargo terminal on the Caspian Sea in partnership with China.
In 2024, the total volume of freight shipments from China via Central Asian countries exceeded 211,000 containers. To enhance this appeal of the Trans-Caspian route, we are taking systemic measures to modernize and digitalize Caspian Sea ports, build cargo terminals, and launch domestic shipbuilding. We propose considering the establishment of a joint cargo terminal with China at the port of Kuruk on the Caspian.
Предлагаем рассмотреть вопрос создания совместного с Китаем грузового терминала в порту Kuruk на Каспии.
The president also praised the growing cultural and humanitarian ties between the peoples of Central Asia and China. He highlighted the opening of joint cultural centers and the development of tourism as key steps in this direction. According to Kazakh tourism, the number of Chinese visitors to Kazakhstan has increased ninefold over the past 5 years, surpassing 650,000 in the past year alone. On 31st May 2025, the first international tourist train from Xi'an to Central Asia arrived at Almaty's railway station.
We welcome the launch of the first tourist train from Xi'an to Almaty. This event, held as part of the China Tourism Year in Kazakhstan, vividly embodies the spirit of the ancient Silk Road, a route that for centuries facilitated the exchange of goods and ideas across Eurasia.
The second summit concluded with a strong push toward deeper regional cooperation. Summing up the results, Sun Weidong, Secretary General of the Central Asia-China Secretariat, said the leaders held in-depth discussions and reached a number of concrete agreements to advance collaboration under the multilateral format.
At the summit, we adopted an action plan for the high-quality implementation of the Belt and Road Initiative between China and Central Asia, as well as measures to ease mutual travel and a memorandum on strengthening green investment in the extractive sector. In total, 12 multilateral cooperation documents were signed, along with 5 agreements to establish sister city ties.
One of the summit's most consequential outcomes was the signing of the Astana Declaration and the Treaty on Eternal Friendship, Good Neighborliness and Cooperation. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev stressed the importance of developing a long-term strategy for the Central Asia-China format over the next 5 years for solidifying both sides' commitment to deepening comprehensive partnership. The next summit will be held in China in 2027. Daurian Isagulov, New Time.